Hello and welcome to Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host, and I'm thrilled that you downloaded today's show. Thank you so much. Today's show is brought to you by Health IQ. Health IQ is a life insurance company that is dedicated to giving lower rates and rewarding the health conscious. And for those of us that are health conscious, isn't that awesome that we actually get to pay less for more? Because just like in preventative medicine, where we're trying to take care of our health to avoid having anything bad happen to our health, Health IQ is supporting us in paying less to continue to have a nest egg or a backup for in the case of something happening that we can't control, so our families and our loved ones are still supported. I also love that Health IQ is a data-based company. They are researching and finding all kinds of algorithms that support finding what information about health and nutrition is actually important in determining someone's level of health. And they have an awesome quiz that I think everyone needs to go take. And you can go to healthiq.com/NAM. So nutrition and alternative medicine, NAM, healthiq.com/NAM. And you can get a free quote on life insurance, and it's term life insurance. So check it out and compare it to what you already have. And if you don't have anything, check it out and consider it, because it's a great preventative way to get peace of mind if you don't have a large nest egg in the bank to support your family in the case of your absence. So make sure to check out healthiq.com/NAM and take the quiz. I took it and I was really tickled with all the questions I got right. I was a little puzzled by two of the questions I got wrong. And Manjal and I, the CEO of the company, and I talked about it because I wanted to question the data of that, like who put that together and how we could argue it. But it doesn't matter. It's one question out of 30 that doesn't make that big of a difference. So go take the quiz, healthiq.com/NAM. I also want to remind you that I do a 30-day manifestation challenge. It is free. We're getting to the end of January, and the challenge is starting February 1st. So on February 1st, a bunch of us are in a Facebook group where we support each other on a daily basis to do whatever practices you want to do. I give you many options that support you getting in the best feeling place, getting connected to your spirit, to your soul, to your body, and to meditating, to journaling, to doing chakra clearings, whatever it is you choose. You don't have to choose all of them, but whatever it is you choose that you think helps support you connecting to your spirit, to your soul, to your center, and having a great day and being able to navigate through your day a little more evenly, a little bit more with resilience, and allowing yourself to vibrate at a new level where the manifestations that you want can be attracted to you because you have cleaned up your energy. So if you're interested, go to jjflazanes.com. Again, that's jjflizanes.com. Click on free tools and resources, and that's where you will find the 30-day free manifestation challenge. You do need to register. You do need to be approved into the Facebook group because everyone's there. It's not an open group. It is a closed group, but we start February 1st. So if you're interested, come check it out. Now, today's show is Food for Life with Laila Ali. And what I really appreciate about Laila is that for those of you that follow me on social media, weeks ago, I was on her podcast. And before I got to the studio in Beverly Hills, she listened to my show because she didn't know that much about me. And she listened to one of my podcasts. And when I walked in, she was super impressed. And I was super impressed because I'll be honest, not all podcasters do that kind of homework. So I was really touched. And it's probably because she and I share the same love language, which has to be quality time. Because here's someone who has a TV show, has a podcast, has a book coming out in a book launch, and is flying all over the place, doing book signings and media. And she still cooks. Okay? She doesn't have a chef. She cooks. And she makes time to do that. And I think that that's an amazing role model. So she is awesome, and I really appreciate Laila on all levels. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Welcome, Laila, to my show.
Hi, how you doing, JJ?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so excited that you're on my show now, and I have to tell you that Food for Life is a gorgeous, beautiful cookbook.
Thank you. I that was really important to me because I'm one of those people that'll buy a cookbook just because it looks good. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
have it as something to look at. But I mean, if the recipes are good, that's even better. But
Well, of
thank you.
course, of course. Well, so the first step is obviously you have to look at the cookbook, and if it makes your mouth water and you want to make the things in it, that you can't get past that, right? If there's no pictures, if the pictures aren't good, then we've lost even the desire to necessarily try some of these unless you're making some crazy claim like if you eat this, you're going to lose 20 pounds in a week or something, right? Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. So, and what's really super fun too is my mom, I called her on the way home after we recorded your show, told her about you, and then she saw you in Oprah magazine with your cinnamon, carrot, and maca muffins, and she's already made them. They've been taste tested at my mother's a great cook. They've been taste tested at my home with my parents. They both love them, and I'm looking at them right now in your beautiful cookbook, and I'm looking forward to making them too.
Oh, thank you. Tell your mom thanks for trying the recipe because normally I'm one of those people who will clip out recipes and then sometimes I just never even get to them. So I think it's cool that she already tried it. So and thanks for the support. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah, you're welcome. And I really enjoyed reading the beginning of the book as well, because, I know we didn't really talk a lot on your show when you were interviewing me about sort of your position on food. I heard you say, you recognize there's a lot of different ways to eat and that you sort of honor everyone's sort of choices. And so what I really appreciate about Food for Life is that you kind of incorporate a little bit of everything. And I think that minus vegans, although they could get some stuff out of this book because I see a lot of things made with beans and chickpeas and vegetables. So I think that it's really good for everybody, but especially for someone like me, I don't do dairy and I'm definitely gluten free. And a lot of times I try to be more paleo. I feel like all the recipes are easily adjustable to make it dairy free or paleo. And I love that all your desserts are gluten free. So that's fabulous. I know you said that you're not, but for someone who like me and the people who listen to my show are, it's great to be able to navigate around a cookbook that doesn't exclude you, that is so dependent on you having to use like one kind of thing, and especially when it comes to gluten-free flours or regular flour, that's a big deal for some people. So thank you for writing and putting this beautiful book together so that those of us with more specific food choices can still utilize your recipes and have it taste as just as amazing.
Thank you so much. It was important to me because, like you said, I am aware that different people eat different ways, and some that changes a lot. I know it does with me. I try different things. Haven't gone vegan yet, but vegan is totally different lifestyle, and I've seen some really amazing books coming out on vegan recipes. So I'll let them have that lane. You can't please everybody,
Right.
So I have to stay true to my style of cooking. But yes, I think it is there are a lot of recipes that are interchangeable and easy just to take out the meat or take out the dairy or whatever. So thanks for noticing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because as we just talked about, the first order when you're looking at a cookbook, you're looking at the pictures, and you're
Yeah,
looking at the name of what it is, and you're saying, would I make that? Would I eat that? Do I want that? And I'm already excited about making your secret white sauce. That is fabulous. I can't wait to play with that. And I saw a couple other things in here that I was like, oh, I want to make that soon. I want to try that out because I didn't think of that. Huh? Good.
It's crazy. It's crazy because, the secret sauces and things like, I remember I saw something in somebody's recipe before where she pretty much blended down vegetables. And I'm like, wow, why didn't I think to do that? And now I just kind of been doing it ever since. And, you can come up with your own recipes. You don't even necessarily have to follow mine, but just the idea of saying, okay, I'm going to blend down these fresh vegetables and I'm going to add them into, my pizza sauce, or I'm going to add them into my tomato sauce. I've even, when I make turkey patties, for my kids, I put, vegetables in there. Obviously, you have to watch the quantity because it changes the texture of the meat and of the patty. But, I'm always just thinking about ways to add nutrition to our meals because as we know, and I'm sure people who listen to your show know, it's harder and harder nowadays to, get nutrition just out of the food that we eat because it's just depleted, right? And then you got to buy organic and non-GMO, and just like sometimes I get so overwhelmed even just going to the store to shop for food because I'm looking for the right produce, just the quality produce. So I almost named the book Fight for Your Life, and I was going to do, I mean, like food
Right.
fight or
Right.
something, because it's just like, and play on words with the boxing and everything. And I decided against it. I was like, not this project. But, because I feel like it's a fight nowadays, just to get a healthy meal on the table. So.
Well, I'm impressed that you're still cooking, and you are still cooking, right?
Oh yeah. Am I still cooking? Oh, I love cooking. I'm gonna cook till the day I die, for sure.
Well, I know how busy you are,
Oh yeah.
and what I love about that, is because, and I don't know if everyone on who's listening right now understands how busy Layla is, between her podcast and her TV show and this book launch, and I'm sure you're involved in many other things that I have no idea about, but the fact that you're still cooking, like I love that. I think if nothing else, besides everyone needs to go out and buy food for life, you represent that you're doing it and you're doing it yourself, right? You don't have a chef.
Oh yeah.
You're
No, no,
cooking
for sure.
yourself.
I don't have a chef, and I'm doing the damn dishes afterwards. That's the part I don't like. I'm like, after I shoot my little Instagram videos and everything, I'm like, yeah, I should shoot this, show them me cleaning all this crap up now. But no, I live a very normal life, and obviously that's something that I've chosen for myself. I grew up with cooks and nannies and chauffeurs and things like that, growing up with my father being Muhammad Ali and my parents traveling all the time, and those are the choices that they made. And obviously, as a child, it had an effect on me. I wouldn't swap my life out for anyone else's because everything I've been through has made me who I am today. But that's why cooking is so important to me, because I wish I had it growing up. I wish I could um, have the order in my house where I come home from school. I know I'm going to do my homework. My mom's going to be in the kitchen cooking. I'm going to get a good meal. We're gonna. So it's like it just makes me feel like home is where the heart is, and family and things like that. So if it was just me, then probably I'd find a couple of takeout places every once in a while, because I do get busy and I do get tired, that actually offer the type of food that I eat. But then what keeps me from doing that is just my commitment to, my children and my husband and my family, and making sure that they know what to expect and that they can count on me. So, it's a whole big picture, because trust me, there are days though when I'm like, okay, you know what, guys, we're just going to order out, because, I think rest and sleep and being rested is just as important. So it's just about balance and having your priorities in order. But yeah, it's definitely a part of a bigger picture, cooking for me. So
Well, and I think that that role model that you're being is important for us to know, because how many services, not that, and I eat out and I order in, I do those kinds of things as well, but I do cook. Like yesterday I made my vegetable soup. In fact, for my event last week, I cooked. I
oh
actually made
wow.
them because I had a lot of vegans. I made my vegan vegetable soup and I made a grass-fed paleo chili, beef chili,
Yum.
because I actually, A, I had the time. B, if I was going to cook at all, that was the day to do it. And they were all like, "Oh my God, you cooked!" Because, you're
Yeah.
running around doing an event. But while it's not that hard for me, in fact, it's quite enjoyable when I do it. I think it's so important to show people, because it is part of nourishing your body. It's not just about having organic and non-GMO foods and hopefully cleaner foods, anti-inflammatory foods. That's really important for digestion. But then there's this next piece of that neurological connection with our bodies and the energetic exchange that happens when you actually cook food that you don't get when you're disconnected from it by ordering it out or eating at a restaurant or having someone else make it for you. Like there's a slowing down that we so desperately need, that most people are making excuse and saying, no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. And I'm here to tell you, okay, Laila Ali is doing
Yeah.
it. And if
We can
she,
do, yeah, we can do what we want to do, JJ. That's how I feel about it. So it's like, don't get me wrong, there's people who are super, super busy, and it's just like, they're tired, they're overworked, they're stressed, whatever, whatever the situation is. And then they're like, okay, those people, I can understand some of the excuses a little bit more, but a lot of people have a lot more time to do certain things they just don't want to do, so they push them out. And we were talking about the energy in the food, and not only are you not connected to the food and putting your own energy into the food, you're actually eating other people's energy. Like when you're going
right?
out, you don't know who's in the back of that kitchen, what they're going through, and what kind of energy they're putting into your food. So that's one thing, you just really don't know what's in your food, and I mean that in every sense of the statement. you know so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
no, no. Well, because it's the idea that while I hear you on that there's some people that are just so super busy, and I get that, but I'm not suggesting that everyone cook 5 days a week, 7 days a week, every meal that you're going to eat, but there is a celebration, there is a tradition, there is a coming together, a community aspect that is beyond just the food. It's an energy that I think is important for having people start to cook more
Yes.
than you normally are. So maybe that's even just one big meal a week. Maybe that's a Saturday night. Maybe it's a whole ordeal. Maybe you go to
Hmm.
the grocery store on Saturday in the day and you buy your fresh fruits and vegetables and your lean grass-fed meats and organic wild fishes and whatever you're going to have. And then maybe as a family unit, you make a dinner together. Or if you're not as a unit, because I know sometimes, I don't know about you, I'm all about taking up the kitchen. My kitchen's not big enough for everybody to be doing something. I kind of
Hmm.
need the space. Like, leave me alone, go fix a table. Like, you can help me in other ways, but I need the kitchen to myself. But what I love is the example that you're putting out there. Not only just the foods and the flexibility of the foods, but the idea that, that it's important for you to feed and nourish your soul as well as your body and your kids and your family and your mental and your emotional well-being to cook.
Exactly. I'm all about that. That's right.
So let's go back because I want people to know. So the beginning of the book, you started to talk about how you got into the love of cooking, and it was because you had a cook, right? And was it because of the meals that were made there, or was it because of the positive impact that had on you, or did you just feel like, oh man, I really want to get in there and play? I mean, I know you had to make your own stuff once you sort of moved away. Your parents split up, right? And you learned how to make eggs, I think you said, and something else, and you just sort of figured it out. So tell us that story.
Yeah, I fell in love with food, just by having, I did have a chef, and when we lived with our father, or a cook that prepared our meals and was there in the kitchen. So, that's an amazing way to eat as a young child, and finding all these different foods that you like, and, really having that type of a palate that I had. So I just really fell in love with food. And then, of course, when my parents divorced, we didn't end up having a cook anymore. My mom wasn't a cook. And my mom actually, at one point when I was my early teens, she had, actually, I wasn't even in my early teens. I was like 10. She had like a kitchen in the guest house, right? And so I would go into that kitchen and use it pretty often and just kind of experiment. So that's when I started cooking the eggs and the spaghetti, the things that you just kind of try when you're young. And then, I started recreating recipes. I'd call my grandma on the phone and say, how do you make that stewed chicken? Or how do you make that? Then I started asking about gumbo as I got earlier. She told me over the phone how to make a roux. It didn't come out quite right. Now that I know how to make it, but at the time it worked well. I was like, haha, I did it. So I had a lot of confidence, and, so I learned from just trial and error pretty much. And even now, like, I'll just look at recipes and I'll say, my husband will be at a restaurant. I'm like, you like that? Like, I wonder what's in that. And I might ask him, I'm gonna make for that for you at home, and he's always laughing about that. I'm always trying to recreate recipes. So that's kind of been my thing since I was really young.
And did you eat? I know you talked about in the book, you talk about how, eating clean and eating, or not just clean, but eating in certain ways, fresh fruit and vegetables, and it helped you to be a better boxer, which of course we all know from exercise. We all get that food fuels us. We are what we eat, and the better quality food you have, the better quality energy you can
Hmm.
produce, as well as the substrates in your food to help you are the building blocks for both your muscles as well as your cardiovascular system. So what was there a specific kind of food plan, or did you eat these foods when you were
When I
training?
was
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was training, I was younger obviously than I am now. So I started boxing. So I was in my 20s, young 20s, and it wasn't really so much. There wasn't so much of a focus on the quality of food back then. It was more so just the balance of carbohydrates and fats and proteins, and the timing of when I ate. So it was really more just a focus of, okay, I need to be lean and I need to be eating for energy. So I could eat as many calories as I wanted. So I wasn't calorie counting because I burned off so many calories, but it was more so real basic. So like if I was in training camp for a fight, that's when I would really be dialed in. And I had a nutritionist even at one time, and it would be like, okay, you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to run, your miles, you're going to come home, you're going to have your protein shake and put my supplements in there. And then I'd go back to sleep for, an hour and a half. I'd get up, I'd have breakfast, which would be like egg whites, oatmeal. Then I would go to the gym, I'd box. As soon as I was done training, I'd have another shake, just to fuel my body right away without making it work harder. So I did kind of know those things back then, even of, just taking it easy. And then I would have a lunch, I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted. If I wanted to have pasta, like I said, I wasn't focused on the quality of the food. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm being gluten free or I'm not going to eat white pasta. It was like I would eat what I wanted, or I'd have steak and potatoes, whatever. And then dinner, I would kind of take it easy for dinner and just focus on lean protein and veggies and, fresh salads and things like that. So it was real basic. It wasn't until I got older, had children, and really started doing research on what was the best, when I started thinking about, breastfeeding and how important that was. And then you go from one article to the next and you start reading and doing research and you learn about the non-GMO and organic and all the crap that's in a lot of the products and how important it is to nurture your children, from a young age. And even while I was pregnant, like what's the best way to eat for my baby? Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm pregnant, I can eat whatever I want. And they start eating all this junk and all this crap. And it's like, that is what you're forming the, human inside of your body with. So that's when I really, started focusing. It was like when I was pregnant. And then I also just was like, I'm not going to just get sloppy and gain all this weight that's going to be hard to get off. So, it was a mixture of things. And that's when I really became more educated. And I'm still learning today. I mean, obviously I don't know everything. And then the information, as you know, is always changing. So you kind of, for me, I kind of go with my own smarts and my intuition along with the information that I get. I don't just take it for what it is and say, oh, that's what I'm gonna do because that person said it or this, experiment said it. It's like I kind of do what feels right for my body.
Yeah. And that's what's important for all of us. I mean, nutrition has to be customized. And I would definitely never rule out trying something. I mean, I know you talked about in the book different kinds of diets and different kind of ways of eating. And while I do some of those, I do recommend people play with and eliminate things for a little while, see how your digestion is, add them back in, see what happens, because you can definitely get some blood work done. You can do a saliva test and figure out if you've got some sensitivities, but our bodies are changing. And so you want to just see that you're eating what your body is digesting well. And, so I'm scrolling through the book. And the baked zucchini fries. Oh, I'm excited about that. I get bored with zucchini and I put it in soups and I make pasta out of it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try this. So I love when I find new, fun, healthy things to try. So that looks like awesome. And then your spaghetti squash, 7 ways. I mean, people get bored with spaghetti squash. So I think that's another awesome way to take something that, people might not get creative with and show them what they can do with it, because definitely spaghetti squash is a much better choice than regular pasta for 10 different reasons. But it's not for everybody and you can get bored with it for sure. And so 7 different ways is what she's got in the book. So if you have to check out this book, it's Food for Life. And where can you get it? Any Barnes & Noble or Amazon right now? Is there a specific place you'd want people to go get the book?
Yeah, they can get it just Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere pretty much books are sold are, is a good place to get the book. So, yeah.
And you also, is it still going on, your detox program?
It is. I have a 7-day detox, which is very customizable, and I'm offering it to anyone who pre-sales the book before it comes out January 23rd, and they can go on to LailaAliFreeDetox.com. Once again, that's LailaAliFreeDetox.com, and there's a page there that kind of gives you the option to purchase the book there. Then you would come, enter your email address, upload your proof of purchase. It can even be a photo screenshot, of the confirmation that you purchased the book, and then you can download the detox. And then you also get, with the detox, you get some of the recipes from my book in advance. So I think it's really cool. And, I give you my shake recipe that I use because I like to drink shakes. I incorporate them. I have them for breakfast a lot. And I talk about that. And, it's just a great way to cleanse your body of all of the additives. Because really what it is about just eating clean. That's what my detox is, and not having a bunch of processed foods. And I talk about how to build a plate, how to make good snacks for yourself, prepare good snacks for yourself, and then how to also build your own shake. So it's a lot of good information in there, and then tips on exercise and sleep and water intake and all those things. So, but it's very, very customizable, like I said, because a lot of, as you know, the general public doesn't really know what to do or what first steps to take. So this detox, even though it says 7 days, you could do it for the rest of your life if you wanted to. You could do it for 14 days. You could do it for 5 days, but 7 days is just kind of like to get you going. And I think that, once people do start eating clean and they do kind of get a rhythm going, then they'll want to continue doing it. So.
Yeah, we all need to be detoxing. It's not really a choice anymore. I mean, yes, it's a choice, but in terms of, you don't have to do it, but you really need to be doing it, because we live with so many toxins, especially anyone who's living amongst, well, if you live here in California and you dealt with the fires, there's that in the air. Plus, if you just live in any populated area with exhaust from planes or cars or machines or you live near plants of any kind, or so it's just we're living in that day and age, unfortunately, where there's a lot of toxins in everything, in our food, in our water, in our products, and in the air, and so detoxing is kind of necessary. We have to clean that lint trap, otherwise we're not going to be drying our clothes very effectively. So make sure you at least schedule yourself a couple times a year to be doing this detox, and Layla's detox sounds awesome and amazing, and definitely want to check that out. Now, before I ask you what your favorite food is in here, or your top 3 favorite foods or recipes in your book, tell me about this guacamole. I am a guacamole snob. I have only had like 1 or 2 other guacamoles that I like better than mine. And this one I'm super excited because I love when I find new ingredients to put in it. So tell me how to pronounce this Korean chili paste.
That's funny. I'm not a guacamole snob. So you would probably beat me in that competition, if there's something that you make all the time. But this is a very good guacamole. It's called Kujichang.
Guji
Kujichang.
Chang.
Gujichang. It sounds like you're saying C, but it's Gujichang.
Guji
Yeah,
Chang.
look, yeah, and somebody Korean will probably come back and be like, "That's not how you say it." But um, I was competing on Chopped on the Food Network, and won, and I won on one of the episodes. I made this gochujang guacamole because they give you these ingredients. Anyone who watched Chopped knows they give you this basket, and it was like an avocado. I think I had no, did I have? I had the gochujang, and then I had some other items, and then I had to make I think I had vanilla cupcakes and some chicken tenders, and I had to make an appetizer using those ingredients and anything else that I wanted to add to them, and they judge you on taste, creativity, and presentation. So what I did is I took some of the crumbs from the vanilla cupcake, grinded them down, and added some flour. And then I breaded the chicken tender in that and fried it, right? Pan fried it. Now I wasn't thinking about health; I was thinking about winning.
Yeah, I
So
know.
no, I had to use what they have. I had
Right.
to use what they have available. So I pan fried it, and then I also made a side of guacamole using the avocado and the gochujang, which is a spicy Korean tomato sauce. Like you said, it just has. I didn't know what the heck it was, but what you do is, of course, you smell it, you taste it, and you go, "Oh, okay, it has a little kick. I'm gonna use this." So, that's what inspired this guacamole. So it's really a simple recipe. Actually, I'm gonna go on Rachel Ray and make that recipe to go with my loaded turkey tacos. So it's gonna be fun. But yeah,
Can
you should
I can
definitely
I
try it.
come? I want to try it. When are you doing
All right,
it?
right.
I want to try it. Well, because I love chilies. When I got introduced to I've only been to Chicago once, and it was years ago, and I had this chili oil at this Italian restaurant. There's amazing gluten-free pizza, and the owner, it was late at night. My husband and I had just gotten there, probably like 8:30, and not too busy, and the owner came over and he said, "Would you like some chili sauce, chili oil?" And we like spicy things, so we're like, "Sure." And it was the most amazing chili oil ever, and from that moment on, I've become like a pepper connoisseur. Like I love jerk anything jerk from Jamaica, right? But you can only use
Hmm.
Scotch bonnet peppers really for jerk. That you really shouldn't be using habanero. It's Scotch bonnet peppers. So now I'm into this. I've learned all about these chilies. So when I saw this guacamole and I see Korean chili paste, it's a new chili I've not tried. Oh my goodness, I need to try it. So I'm super excited.
No.
Is it like medium hot? Is it really hot, or does it just depend on how
No.
much you
Well,
use?
I mean, it depends on how much heat you can take, because you just told me you're like this chili pepper connoisseur. So I could say it's hot. I'm not like someone who loves spicy food. I can handle it. But I would say, like, if someone was saying, "Well, how spicy do you want it?" When you can choose, I would probably say, "Oh, just make it like a 4 or 5." You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I would say this would be probably like a 8.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty spicy. You don't need a whole lot of it for sure.
Oh, I'm so excited to try it. Okay, so
Yeah,
tell
check
me
it out.
tell me what your top recipes are in here. What your favorite things that you make that you love.
Oh man, I would say my favorite things that I make on a regular basis would definitely be my oven fried chicken wings, because it's a family favorite. Plus, I love them. I make, I would say the gumbo. Oh my God, there's so many. And then we got the stewed chicken. Those are things like I've been making for so long that they've kind of become like I could just make them with my eyes closed, half sleep kind of thing. But people love them. Like I get calls all the time from friends like, "How do you make that again?" on the phone. And then there's a lot of other recipes in there that I love, that I've come to love, because with the cookbook, I had a lot of recipes, but I didn't have enough to fill up this entire cookbook. So the writer in me, Lita Shintab, who's amazing, we created some of the recipes together. Some of them it was just kind of like, um, I want to make a version of sakatumi cake. And she's like, well, what's that? And then she'd look up sakatumi cake. And I'm like, I've never made it. I don't really bake. So I got, the recipes were definitely, most Lita's creations and with my input. But we made the sakatumi cake. We made it gluten free. So sometimes I would just have inspiration and say, let's do something with some Napa cabbage and some beef, and let's use some of these seasonings. And she's the actual recipe writer, so recipe writing in itself is an art. It's like I can cook all day long, but writing a recipe and like actually getting a book done, I would have never got it done without having her as a partner because she's so organized, and so it made it so much easier. And even with it being easier, it was still tough. So, so I have so much respect now for people, that've done like so many cookbooks because it's a lot of work. But yeah, I think every recipe in the book is really, really good. But the ones that I've been cooking forever, are the ones that would definitely be my favorite. But those would be probably my top three. And then my greens. I love my greens, and I call them West Coast Southern greens because, they're made in a healthier way than you would actually get them down south with ham hock and all of that in them. I mean, I don't have the ham hock in mind. I'm saying down south.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. No, I'm looking at your secret white sauce. What would you put your secret white sauce on? I see that you could put it on the zucchini, but what else would you? And for
I
those of you that you need to look this, you need to get this book. But you can make it vegan and you can make it not vegan, but it's dairy free, but it's creamy, and I love all that. I love anything that looks like it's supposed to be dairy or creamy or full of extra calories that it doesn't have. And this one is actually quite clean. It's made with vegetables. So what would you put it on?
I would put it on anything pretty much that you can sneak it into. So I've used it in my mac and cheese. I've used it in different pasta sauces that I made for the kids. Sometimes I'll make like a quinoa rice bake. I'll put it in there with some cheese, so it's not dairy free anymore. But I mean, pretty much anything. I think it really just comes down to, the amount that you use. So,
Yeah.
and I've even seasoned it up more and just made it like kind of like a dip. So there's just different ways that you can do it. I've actually made some like cream spinach with it before. So it's good. I mean, but I'm one of those people that like when I cook, it's not always about the presentation. It's kind of just about how can I get the food. Like if I'm cooking for myself, I'm not cooking for anyone, any friends or anything coming over. Then that's when I really get creative with what I use the sauces for and things like that. So.
Yeah, no, I'm like you. I can cook all day making a recipe. So if anyone has seen my show, I don't give you exact amounts because I don't do exact amounts. I do it to taste, right? So putting a
Right,
cookbook
right.
together is a lot of work because you do need to give people some kind of place to start. You can't just say, here, put a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They're like, what's a little bit? Is it a tablespoon? Is it
And
a
they
teaspoon?
do. They want to know. They want to know. Like I couldn't tell you right now. I don't have the book in front of me, and I couldn't even tell you exact amounts or anything that are in that white sauce because like I said, I had to sit there with Lita and make it into an actual recipe, and it was hard because you commit. Like you're like, oh, it's written, it's down, that's
Right.
what it is, And it's like when I cook differently. Like because sometimes produce is different or
Yep.
the meat tastes different, and you might need a little bit of this or a little bit of that. So that's why I try to always in my recipes say season to taste because another thing that was hard for me was I like a lot of seasoning. So sometimes we would be testing recipes. I'm like, no, it needs more salt. It needs more of this. She's like, Layla, no, you got to back off, because some people don't want that much salt. And I'm like, oh, but what about the people who want to make it the exact same way I make it? So it was just like, because I don't want them tasting it be like, oh, this doesn't taste right,
Yep.
and it's just like, so that was hard for me as well. So it's just like, it's never exactly the same. So you kind of have to always feel it out and kind of don't be afraid to make changes here and there, to the recipe.
Absolutely. I did a recipe for KDK in Pittsburgh. I was on back in September for it's a vegan cheese, but it's a nacho cheese, but it's not cheese. It's made with nuts
Uh-huh.
and vegetables, and because they wanted to put the recipe up on the TV and on their website. And of course, I didn't have a recipe. So I'm like up trying to like taste and measure
I
and
make it
taste and
right,
measure and make a
right.
recipe, right? And just like you said, sometimes produce is different and sometimes your olive oils are different. And sometimes, you might want a little bit more salt or you want a little bit more lemon juice or whatever. And so it's hard because if people make exactly what you do and then they go, oh, well, I didn't love it. Well, then you don't scrap the whole thing. You play with
Right.
it. There has to be a little bit of that creativity and art in cooking where the recipe becomes what you use. It's where you start, but you have to season to taste because everybody's taste tastes are individual, and sometimes it's just a little tweak that can make all the difference. So definitely people play with your food. Take it from Laila, take it from me. Be in your kitchen, buy this book, make her recipes. And then if you want a little bit more salt, know that she'd be approving of you because she was told not to put so much in because of, for the scare that we all think we have with salt. I'm going to do a show about salt because some of it's BS. But anyway, I digress because some of that salt conversation really is about inflammation, and salt's not what's causing the inflammation. It's some of the other foods that we're eating. So it's a beautiful, gorgeous book. Now, I know that I have a lot of listeners all over the world, but for the ones that are local, I know you're doing a couple different book signings. You want to tell us where those are?
Yeah, so right now I have 3 book signings scheduled. One of them is in New York City. It's on January 23rd at 6 p.m. at Barnes & Noble Tribeca on 97 Warren Street. I'm doing another one at Bookends, which is in New Jersey on Wednesday the 24th at 6 p.m. And then I'm doing the Barnes & Noble at the Grove in Los Angeles, and that one is on the 31st of January at 7 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to see you there. I'm going to come get my book signed by you on
Nice.
Wednesday, January 31st at the Grove. You said 7 o'clock?
Yep, 7 o'clock.
Awesome. And we can buy the books there, obviously, to have you sign them, or do you want people to purchase the book beforehand and bring it with them?
I think either or, I think that if you're one of those people who wants to have it in hand and get right on in line, then do so. Because I think there's going to be a big, a big outcome as far as just people showing up. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, either way, just get the book and I'm going to sign it so we can take pictures together and all that.
Excellent. So what's next for you after this book is out and everyone's cooking Laila's food for life? What's next for you?
I'll be right back, probably shooting the next season of Homemade Simple, which is a show I host on Oprah's network OWN. It comes on every Saturday at 9 o'clock, and it also re-airs during Oprah's Super Soul Sunday at 1 p.m. So I'm the new host. It's a show that's been on for 7 seasons, and it's really cool. So this is my first season, and it's really fun because not only do I go into people's homes with my team, a designer and a carpenter, and remake a home for a very deserving family, but I also get in the kitchen and cook with them. And we've been cooking recipes out of my cookbook, and then I also create a recipe for that family depending on what their eating preferences are. And so it's really fun, and it's been great to be able to promote my book on the show as well. So it's great, but it's a lot of work. So once this tour is over, I'll be right back shooting more episodes.
See, everyone, what a role model. She is busy and she is still cooking. It is so important for healthy living to get your relationship with food intact and make sure that you get Laila's book and that you schedule at least one meal a week. Everybody can do one meal a week.
Yeah, yes, JJ. Look, I knew I was going to be busy, so I just got back from New York last night, and before I left, I made a pot of soup too. It was funny when you were saying that's what you made, which is a great option when you got to serve a lot of people, because you just make one big old pot. And I thought that your chili was a great idea also. But I made my soup with bone broth. And then I put a bunch of vegetables in. It was easy. I just kind of used what I had on hand, chopped them up, put them in the pot. So I'm going to go have a bowl, when we're done talking, because I don't always have time to cook, either. But I like to try to make something that'll kind of last me for a few days and just easy to heat up. So that would be a great place to start, if you want to get started cooking.
Absolutely. Soups are awesome. I have mine sitting on the stovetop too, because that's how I'm going to get my vegetables in today, because I cooked a whole bunch of broccoli and carrots and cauliflower and onions and garlic.
Yum.
And put some spices in it. And you can make it vegan, and I'm going to get a nice loaded pack, punch of veggies today in my soup. So absolutely, soups are a great way to start. So Laila, I love you. I think you're welcome. I think you're awesome. And I really, really, really appreciate that you cook and that you represent what is possible for everybody out there I'm tired of hearing excuses about why people have a bad relationship with food. There really isn't any. She's busier than most people and she can cook. So please buy Food for Life and come visit her and me on Wednesday, January 31st, if you're in LA, for her book signing at the Grove at 7 o'clock on January 31st. Laila, thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you for having me on. I'll see you soon.
Yes, you will. And as a reminder, today's show was brought to you by Health IQ, giving healthy people lower rates on term life insurance. Make sure to check out your free quote and take the health quiz. Go to healthiq.com/NAM.